You are now listening to Nerd Hour. Amateur Hour. Please, allow me to show you something. Let's get to work.
Hello there.
We're keeping that one. Like, take 7.
I blame him.
Hi, Open-One Kenobi. Well, you know what? I do too.
You should, as you should. You should feel very ashamed.
Thanks. I do every day of my life.
Good. Feel shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
Dating.
Shame.
Dating.
Shame.
Alright.
Shame. Shame.
No.
Shame on you.
Ah! That burnt me.
That burnt me?
Yes.
Are you
Ladies.
sure about that?
Yeah. Film Nerds Hour. We're reviewing the show. It's a good time. Lighthouse. Let's do it.
Dear Lord.
Smash cut. Smash cut. Editor, you listening to this? Freeze frame.
I think he forgets that we're doing an audio show sometimes.
You shut up. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the editor.
Dear Lord. Alright, well, we do have something special for you guys.
We do have
today.
something special.
And that would
How
be...
special is Noah?
It is so special that, William Shatner shat.
He's not in this film. He's not in the Lighthouse.
I know he's not. Now, so we are continuing from what we did last week, the follow-up sophomore movie to The Witch by
I'll look up his name.
Robert Eggers.
Yeah.
But
But it's just how you...
The Lighthouse.
Yes, I'm sorry. It's just how you said it. Follow-up to The Witch.
Hello there, everyone.
It's made by Robert Eggers. It's The Lighthouse. Alright. We're too good at that. Why? No wonder my mom's concerned. Okay. So...
Concern.
Anyways. Nice cast here. Nice, just shut up. Nice cast. Mr. Willem Dafoe. Which, interesting thing about Willem Dafoe, he's in this movie as Thomas Wake.
Well, I also gotta... Are you gonna name a William Dafoe fact as well? Because I have one as well.
Is it the fact that his name sounds like a frog and a bird having a conversation?
No.
Willem Dafoe.
Still never
I
gets
can't take credit for that joke. It's from How I Met Your Mother, but still. What's the fact you have?
No, the fact that, if you watch Conan, his original name...
It's pronounced Dave...
William Dafoe.
Well, so he explained it as half of his family pronounces it Defoe and the other half pronounces it Dafoe, and Defoe just sounds better as a name.
Yeah, which is fair.
Mm-hmm. But no, he's in it, and then Robert Pattinson as Thomas Howard, Valeria Karaman as Mermaid, to which I was like, this is confusing.
So we're going to say this right off the bat for those of you. There is mermaid vagina.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's vagina from a fish, and there's a boobers and from a fish.
What really questions is like why Robert Eggers was like, mermaid coochie. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I mean, it makes sense considering the fact that, you know, what they're having to go through.
Right. And then, he's only in there for a second, but Logan Hawk says Ephraim Winslow. Again, he's not in there for long. But... And this is the 2019 The Lighthouse, not to be confused with the 2016 The Lighthouse.
Oh, is there another movie with the same name?
Yeah.
So you learn something new every day, because I wouldn't have thought that.
Let me see. Based on this one, the other one is based on real events which saw 2 lighthouse keepers stranded for months at sea in a freak storm. The film tells a tale of death, madness, and isolation, a desolate trip into the heart of human darkness. That's for the 2016 The Lighthouse.
Huh.
Huh. And the characters' names are Thomas Howell and Thomas Griffiths. I can't make this up, man.
Is it the short film concept of it, though?
It's possible. Let me see. Was it a short film first?
I don't know, but that's a lot of how, like, some of these cool ones. That's a really cool thing. Because, you know, like, Lights Out got theirs, which I don't know what's going on with that sequel now, because they said they were getting one, and then it kind of went dark.
No pun intended.
No pun intended, but I
that
kind of
was a good
overlooked
one.
that.
Yeah. Someone's a genius. No, it's an hour 42.
Is it?
Yeah.
It
It looks like it's the same movie almost, just not in color. So I don't know.
Oh, well.
All right.
I mean, hey, it's still good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hey, this one is also on Tubi the 2016 one's on Tubi for free, so maybe you can watch it and give a comparison.
yeah, I might do that just to see kind of what all that's about.
See, what I liked about this movie though, that like kind of, because maybe this is just the U.S. version of that movie. I don't know, but what I like about this one is it's filmed as though it was filmed in old style.
Yeah, because it was actually filmed from a... Trying to remember, because there was a very certain camera. What camera did Robert Eggers use for the Lighthouse? Because it was of
An older.
Yeah, 1900s camera, which was really neat. Yeah, he used that's right, a Kodak Eastman's double X black and white 5222 film stock with a Panavision Millennium XL2 and a 1930s to 40s Baltar lenses. So for all of you cinematographers and camera geeks out there, that's what he used. So it was pretty cool, and he did it. He utilized it very well.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, it makes it seem like it's actually
from that era, and I love that.
It is nice. It's very nice. Because everything they're using is, as well, practical.
Yeah, that was...
It was a surprise, because, this time period, they really don't need to do that. Like, that's super not necessary.
No, and I think a lot of his movies actually have to deal with... I think a lot of his movies actually have been using practical effects way over than most films do. But then again, it also comes from A24.
Masters of filmmaking at this point.
Yeah, they know who they want to take a chance on and who they don't.
It's a great studio.
They've proven that they know who's ready and who's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they also take a look at a lot of the concepts that kind of come out of these things and kind of go from there as well.
It's true.
So I kind of like that.
Who's calling you? Jesus.
Oh no, it's just my notifications, believe it or not.
Wow.
Heaviest vibration you'll ever hear from a phone. Excuse me, guys, if I sound far away. But no, wow, because I don't think our review of it is, no, it's not out yet. But we have a review with another Robert Pattinson movie, which we'll probably get into a couple of his eventually. But yeah, there's some really good ones with Robert Pattinson in them. So there was another, what is it? We did High Life, but there's like Damsel. And I'm trying to think of a couple of other ones. Good Time.
Good Time. That's the one I was thinking of.
Those, I think, are the two that people would know him from, besides those other indie films. But absolutely
Good Time is great. Yeah.
Spectacular job in The Lighthouse. I haven't had the pleasure of seeing
Good Time?
Good Time, yeah.
Oh, so good.
But it is on my list.
You know what it is?
Yeah, I know what it's about.
No, I was going to make a joke, but yeah. That's good.
Oh,
I was going to say, you know what it is? It's a good time.
You're good. All right. So, kind of going into this. I mean, there's a lot here. It deals with a lot of psychological stuff like The Witch, although it's more, I'd say, akin to what it would be like to... I mean, the whole reason I think this movie works so well is because it's about two guys managing the lighthouse.
Yeah, which, again, I have stated this to you. In said time period, never doing it, no sir, that's how you lose your mind. However, nowadays, okay... Because at this point in our time of technology, thank God for this, by the way, lighthouses more or less run themselves.
Yeah, it's just a matter of subtle maintenance.
It's just a guy who needs to be there for the frickin' to change some bulbs. it's most of what it is.
Right. Sorry, I was kind of looking more... there is a short from 2018 called The Lighthouse.
Okay. So maybe the 2016 one was made, someone made the short, and then Eggers saw the short and made his?
Yeah, well, this one, the short, a young homeless girl embraces the magic of her seaside town.
Okay, so it sounds
she befriends a mysterious entity living in the lighthouse by the pier. So that one is different. But I'm kind of wondering, because like you said, this 2016 version is from
It almost
Britain.
sounds, yeah.
So let me see. Is Robert Eggers... is Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse a remake? Because either way...
Either way, it's still a great movie.
Well,
like, the fact that it's a remake doesn't change my opinion at all.
I mean, it doesn't say... It's because he wrote it with his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because they've done it a couple of times with the Lighthouse concept. Because they had The Vanishing from 2018 as well.
Wow. Maybe that's what our theme should have been. we watch The Lighthouse from 2016, The Vanishing from 2018, and then The Lighthouse from 2019.
So essentially just what you told
the
me
same
about Turkey.
movie, just...
Except, like you told me, unlike Turkey, though.
Yeah, we're doing the Turkish cinema thing.
Yeah, which is kind of funny.
Those of you who don't know, they don't have any copyright laws in Turkey, so...
Except The Vanishing does it differently.
That's good.
Because there's 3 lighthouse keepers that arrive on an isolated island off the Scottish coast.
Oh, okay.
And Gerald Butler's in there with Peter Mullen and Connor Swindles as James, Ducat, Thomas, and Donald.
Cool. I like it.
And that got... So I remember seeing that back when I worked at a Family Video Before the Calls. But that got 49% with a lot of audience scores. The Lighthouse from 2016 got 31%. And Robert Eggers has, well, needless to say, a hell of a lot more. While all 3 do have great critic scores, the definitive version of Robert Eggers, who did the script himself with his brother, has 72% out of 1,000 audience verified ratings. So
that's cool.
Still on top. I still believe it. I believe it's about a 90, 92 for me. I'd say as wholesome, I would give it a 96.
Okay.
Just for the fact that because it embraced so much.
Yeah.
Plus, it's really hard to impress IMDb, so 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Not that influenced my decision anyway.
They really leaned into the crazy, and I that's admirable.
Yeah, and it really gave Willem Dafoe the ability to kind of cut loose and go back to kind of that awesome kind of like, crazy acting.
Well, yeah, what he likes about... Because he has said what he likes about being an actor is you can just literally do almost anything, Yeah, and I agree with that.
Which is nice, because if you are like me, you probably, for the younger generation at least, you probably remember him from Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie, which is great. I really love the fact that he played Norman so well in there, so that was super awesome for me. And to see him really come back again for another kind of crazy role, like, made my heart, like, super excited.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he really leans into it. Robert Pattinson then really go into it. And I mean, they got so in character that, like, you know, as funny as it's going to sound, there were scripted farts.
It's awesome.
And I know it's like...
you would back then. You wouldn't be, like, concerned about what other people think.
No. And I know that people are like, yeah, scripted farts. And it's like... But you have to hand it to the person that Willem Dafoe was able to make that happen.
Right.
And it just shows, like, just how in sync you are with your character.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't...
And your body.
And your body, yeah. I mean, like, you really... There's a lot of commitment in this movie, and it pays off magnificently.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of diving more into that, we basically get both Thomases, who are... We kind of start the... Don't we basically start the movie off with the boat dropping them off?
Yeah, and they're going to stay there for a month.
Yeah, which already you can kind of be like, that opening shot, which they use in the trailer, just shows their expression of like, shit.
Fuck.
We really don't want to be here.
No, it's all about money. That's what it's for.
No. And I like how they don't bullshit about that either, how they're just literally like right away.
Yeah.
This is why we're here.
You get paid decent, whatever.
You paid enough money to the point where when I go back, I'm gonna be able to just hightail my own, which, you know, sometimes doesn't sound that bad, except when you watch these movies and then you're like, oh, shit.
I agree.
It's always that one time that's kind of like, oh boy, is it worth it?
I don't know.
And I think that's like the biggest question that these movies ask: is it worth your sanity, or is it worth this and that?
Yeah, like if somebody told you, let's pose this question to you. Somebody said, "Hey Noah, you'll make $5 million. Just for one night's work. All you gotta do is be a night security guard at this pizza place with these animatronics."
Yeah, that's a dead ass no.
I figured.
You would never pay me enough really to go buy animatronics anyway. I don't like them. I used to be freaked out by the robotic Chucky. Yeah. While all the other kids would be like, oh, let's touch Chucky. I was sitting there like...
Chuck E. Cheese, yeah.
Yeah, let's not. Let's not. He looks like he doesn't want to be bothered. That was seriously. Literally my thought process. So, yeah, no, that'd be a fuck no for me.
Noted.
But at the same time, I think at the same time it really just depends on how desperate you are. I mean, that's a lot of why I think people in the 1700s, you know, they really took the jobs that they did because it was kind of like...
Yeah, and Robert Pattinson's Thomas, he talks about later on how he freaking used to do logging, to which I'm like, hell no, are you kidding me? Like...
Right. Which is intense work.
It's intense body. You're using your body to its limits and then more. And then you have to, like... You know, you're living there and you're just surrounded by the burliest, manliest men all the time. Nah, I'm good.
I mean, anybody who has a bear fantasy, that's...
All right.
That's gotta be their dream.
Okay. All right.
No.
Okay.
But, you know, I mean, I kind of like... There's two things I like about Robert Eggers. I mean, saying the situation that Thomas is in, I really like because of the fact of one particular reason. And that one particular reason in this case is more or less because of the circumstances he finds himself in. Right. It's like, is there really a difference, so to speak? Because at least if you're a logger, you're surrounded by people. And they may be toxic masculinity, but you're still surrounded by people.
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, at least I have people around. But then you really ask the question of, at the same time, of like, where is your sanity? Because, I mean, if you're spending all that time in the woods, and you're probably spending time in your own cabin or your own tent.
Right.
How well is your sanity? And just kind of going off on a little side note here, I already was not a fan of the woods. And then I saw Blair Witch, which made me a bigger not fan of the woods. Or the Blair Witch Project, sorry. And then I saw Blair Witch.
Yeah.
The thing that has been seared into my brain when all the witches' symbols are all hanging when they come outside, when that girl who got lost with her boyfriend who screwed them over, when she comes back out and they walk out of the tent and there's nothing but the witch's symbol everywhere. That has been permanently seared into my brain.
Nice.
You could never pay me enough to go camping ever again after that.
Good thing this is the place that you said you might come with me and my family. We're not exactly camping.
Exactly. Like, for me, that was like, no, that did it for me. That's the point we're at. That ruined camping for me the rest of the way. Whatever little bit of, I just might. No.
Gone.
That is... The thing is, too, there's something about surreal about tents. That I feel like at any time you could walk out of the tent and be like in the tall grass, where you could like zip up your tent and you can't really see anything outside your tent, and then you could go back out and you could be in a completely different place.
Right.
Because I feel like tents are like their own like supernatural like state. They feel like you're in some sort of cocoon, and time around you is kind of non-existent.
I like that feeling though, personally.
I mean, I do. I just, with the experiences I've had as a kid and then watching movies like that, those two combined really don't make a good experience for me, so the rest of the time I'm going to be panicked.
Right.
But I also don't like being exposed, so I can't not have the flap
Sure.
closed either.
So it's a weird area for you then, you'd say?
Yeah. Which kind of makes me question what my reaction would be like to being on a Lighthouse Island. Because it's like, if you get creeped out in that building, there ain't a whole lot of places you can go. You're kind of just stuck on the island.
Yep.
We're going to sleep on the other part of the island today and hope of one of two things doesn't happen. That I don't roll over and hit the jagged rocks and either impale myself or break myself.
Right.
Or that the water isn't going to come and sweep me away, or I'm going to roll into the water and drown.
Either one is bad.
Yeah, which, that's another horrifying thing to think about. That you literally just wake up and you've been asleep for so long and you're just adrift in the middle of the water and you can see where the island you were on was.
Jeez.
Because I've seen them do that in movies too, or TV shows, and it's like, that's such a freaking no.
It's like there are certain places where it's like, because somebody was like, how much would it suck to just wake up like in a hospital and just have no idea what happened? That would be terrible. And I was like, I can think of 5 places that would be worse, that I'd rather wake up in a hospital than these 5 other places. Can you think of a few? Like, space?
Yeah, there's not going to be any way to calm me down if I wake up in space and nobody's telling me what the hell happened.
Exactly. Underwater.
I mean, it depends on how underwater. Are you in an underwater substation?
Maybe.
Because if it's comfy like Subnautica, at least I'd be able to keep my composure a little bit.
Crack house, whorehouse, brothel, Miami.
Whorehouse and brothels are the same. You're supposed to say Detroit.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
Isn't Detroit where...
It's Detroit Rock City.
Yeah, but isn't that where... Or no, is it Cleveland?
Is Cleveland the one that rocks?
Where does RoboCop take place again?
Yeah, it's Detroit.
Detroit?
They're still trying to build that RoboCop statue, man.
Are they?
Every day, like Aaron from Game Grumps, shout out to them, check them out. They don't need our help. He said he kickstarted the original like fun project for that, and it's been 12 years on Kickstarter. He's like, every day they still send me updates of if that RoboCop Detroit statue is getting made.
They gotta do it, man.
They do. Can I use this? I'm freezing.
Yeah. So to kind of get more into the movie, we basically have Thomas get dropped off.
Well, at first, Thomas.
Which they
Willem Dafoe Thomas. He's in charge, so he just refers to the other one as lad.
But I thought there was Winslow is what they were specifically refer to him as.
Well, later he specifically refers to him as Winslow, but at first he just calls him lad.
Okay, that's right.
And then he has him call him Winslow for the last week that they're there, because they're only there for a month. Not that bad, personally. But then, a lot of things go awry. And a lot of things are just very strange and uneasy. And honestly, I don't remember the order of everything, if I have to be perfectly honest with both you and the audience.
No,
I remember Willem Dafoe, because Robert Pattinson's Thomas brought up, oh, we need to take shifts on the light, so Willem Dafoe's character was like, no, only I'll do the light, you do everything else.
Yeah, I mean, that's a basic subplot. I mean, we can still stretch this episode out because there is still a lot to talk about. But
no, I know, I'm just saying, like...
for the main part, it is a lot of... There's so many little things that you miss.
It's like scene.
Yeah.
Scene. Like, nothing really drags out.
Yeah, which sounds maybe a little bit repetitive when you think about it, but, like, it's one of those movies that really grips you.
Right.
And that's something that Robert Eggers has done so well.
Yeah.
One thing that I forgot that I was going to say earlier is that I really love, too, that each and every character has only acquired these supernatural occurrences during... they only end up here due to circumstance.
Right.
They never go looking for it. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is what makes the psychological and horror element so great.
Right.
That's what makes short films great. That's what makes any horror film great. Not a bunch of boo, boo, loud noises. Like when we were watching another movie that we're going to be reviewing soon for you guys, and the dialogue was so damn quiet because they just wanted to throw a bunch of loud noises.
God.
And it
You know I didn't like that movie.
Yeah. And it's just, it did need to be that silent. Same thing with, I started trying to watch The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. So damn quiet, so they could play all the loud noises, and I was like, you don't need to do that.
Well, I also heard that movie's also kind of like, someone described it as a courtroom drama where they're not really in the courtroom that much.
I mean, it's based off the real case. So
I know it is real.
I wasn't surprised.
But...
And they did kind of like some exorcist shots. I haven't finished it. I've only gotten like 3 minutes in because I couldn't hear half the damn dialogue because it was so soft. But, yeah, it just was very bizarre to try and listen to and to try and decipher anything that they were saying. So what I really like about these up-and-coming new directors and short film people is that they don't rely on silence.
Yeah.
In the sense of silence of making things so quiet.
Yeah. To make the audience nervous of waiting for the giant noise to happen. Because that's the thing about this movie. Noise is happening all the time. I swear every scene it's like a giant foghorn. And I'm like, no. Please stop. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And... yeah, I mean, I think you said it best. It just doesn't add atmosphere. It makes you... Same thing with the string quartet. It's just like, okay, great.
Alright, got it.
And it's just like, bum, okay, the thing's not there. They're going to turn around, it's going to be there.
Yeah. I'm like, I know.
They're going to either turn around or they're going to turn around again, and then they're going to see him. And it's like, okay, that make me piss my pants in real life, but I wouldn't need a string quartet to do that.
Right. I could just pee myself normal, like a man.
Well, it's like, if I was already terrified, the events that I'm experiencing are already terrifying me. So that's what I really liked about, The Witch. You knew that you were probably dealing with a witch from the title.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just about your mind. Same thing with the Blair Witch Projects. You've never seen the witch, which the director did confirm in Blair Witch 2016 that was not the witch.
Yeah.
How horrifying is that, by the way?
Very.
He confirmed that is not the witch, which makes you think,
what the hell is the witch?
If that's not the witch and that was the threat, then what? I'm sorry, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that because it's like, well, what the hell is the witch then?
No, I agree. Yeah, that's true.
See, that movie did so well, and I think it got underrated like a lot of these other movies. And I'm glad that Robert Eggers, both of his movies have gotten the viewership that they deserve, both at a mainstream audience and a in the indie community. Because more often than not, I know that's something that we always say on here, and we're always going to say it because it's very true. The indie community really does not get any of the viewership that it deserves because it's unorthodox to the main.
Yeah, it doesn't
media.
fit everyone else's cookie cutter kind of how you're supposed to make a movie ideal. And I'm like, that's a stupid reason for it to not be popular.
I love my dad, but that's one reason he couldn't stand Mandy.
Mm.
And I was like, but Dad, that's the
point.
That's the point. It's supposed to be surreal and different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's slow. But when that movie picks up, it picks up. And that's something with Robert Eggers' movies as well. When they really start to pick up, they really pick up.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like it because it almost seems like him and Ari Aster have the same directorial style with their horror.
Right.
It is all mind-bending. I think with Hereditary, though, which we will eventually talk about, with Hereditary, Ari is basically... he takes the movie and he kind of goes out full. Because you've seen Hereditary, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of know that, like, the way it starts is kind of slow, but it's, like, I think, like, 20 minutes in, it really kind of goes full force, in a sense, and that kind of slows down, and then it picks back up again and breaks some suspense, and it did it in such a way. That's kind of what The Lighthouse does. They have some really big bits where it's, like, there's a lot going on, but it's more about the tension of these two men. And one of the common themes, because we kind of we'll try and go beat by beat, but I think there's a lot to be said just kind of through, like, just the smaller stuff. Like the fact that, you know, Winslow, or Ladd at this point, is basically, who's played by Robert Pattinson, him and Willem, like, him and Thomas are basically, like, the one dynamic comes in because, one, Thomas is, like, on top of the world because he's an older gentleman.
Right.
And we all know that, you know, seniority is the I'm always right, which isn't always true. And then you kind of got Winslow, who's new to the scene. Yep. But I feel like he's a lot more reserved because he doesn't really... I mean, you could tell both men don't want to be there.
Right. Well, and also Winslow was a logger before this, so he kind of is done with, like, people. I get that sense.
Yeah, he's done with people, and he's done being barked around with orders. He kind of has his own, like...
his own style. Yeah,
I have my own style. I'm happy. This is where I want to be. You know, so it's kind of like, I don't want to be under anybody else's boot anymore. I just want to do my job and get the hell out. Which I think we've all been there. You in particular, I'm pretty sure you have one experience that we won't say where. But I think that's what makes the dynamic between them so interesting. Because you can tell that they both have, like, that similar personality trait without... I'm kind of trying to think of how to describe it. Because you kind of notice along the movie that Thomas and Winslow are very identical to each other. They kind of have that same personality, and I feel like that's why they clash a lot. And I feel like that's why a lot of different people will clash together from different generations. It's because of the fact that they're very similar, and the one thing that people hate looking at is themselves and somebody else, or the same traits that make them, that they don't like about themselves, and it makes it hard. So to see that and then be stuck with that person and also not know that person for a month, it's a little hard to kind of be like, well, shit, you know, not only am I here, but, like, I have to deal with the said person.
Right.
And, you know, I think Thomas, one of the first things Thomas says is basically that I'm top dog.
Yeah.
You're here and I pay you. which I don't know how accurate that is. I mean, do you have any 2 cents to pitch into there?
To pitch into, like...
Because, well, the whole time Thomas says a lot of the time that I'm paying you.
Right.
To Winslow a lot. But I don't know how accurate that is.
No, it's the company that's paying him. He's evaluating and writing notes.
That's right.
For the company.
Which is kind of like... I know, which... Throughout the movie, as he's doing that, it kind of makes me... I think the part that kind of really pisses me off, in a sense, because it's like... Okay, you got only 2 people there. You got the one seniority, and then you got the other person as well. So how is that fair?
Right.
If you don't have other people on the island to kind of assess, because I mean, it's kind of like that one person who, it's kind of like sticking a person who already has a good reputation that's worked for a company with a long time, and bringing somebody into the company that you know that they've worked with before and they don't like, and then saying, evaluate this person and give them like a performance review. And it's like, of course, the person that doesn't like said person that they're evaluating is going to give them, nothing but they did this wrong. They're going to be looking for all the little stuff that they can.
Yeah.
Even though they could be like the most perfect person. They're on top. They're awake they're awake on time, like up early in the morning to maintain whatever it is that they're doing. Mm-hmm. They're, on time to every meal, cook every meal, are on the clock as soon as they have to be. Like, everything is to a T.
Right. Well, that's with my brother.
Yeah, so it's like, I feel like with Winslow, that's kind of what he's trying to do, and I feel like he does good at it. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of instances, too, throughout, like, later in the film, like, I'd say with even the first few dynamics of Winslow trying to, like, there's a scene where he's, like, for later in the movie, too, towards the middle, where he's, like, painting the lighthouse. And Thomas gives him nothing but crap about how he's painting it wrong. Doesn't he tell him to paint it a certain way? Or he's not, like... What is it? He's not, like, painting it a certain way, or he has to, like, flick the brush or something like that. I'm trying
to... Something that would make it possible for you to destroy the thing, but not possible for them to destroy you.
Yeah. And... There's also that scene with the gulls as well. So you get a nice mixture of Thomas being kind of a condescending ass, and then a lot of him basically trying to give Winslow wisdom on how to perform his job, into which you really get the balance of like, okay, you can't be a dick and give wisdom at the same time. Because at this point, Winslow throughout all the way to the end is kind of like, why am I taking orders or advice from you? So, yeah.
And some of the jobs, can we just, like, let's talk about that for a second, because holy God, man. Like, thank God for conveyor belts and automated systems nowadays, and electricity. Because, like, back then you had to make sure the light was still on, otherwise ships would crash and things would be very bad, obviously. But you had to, like, fill a furnace with coal and, like...
Which, don't you get treated like that as, like, manslaughter, too? Don't you get a felony for that? Isn't that a felony, too, if you let the lights go out?
Yeah.
Because it's charged with manslaughter. Involuntary manslaughter.
It's involuntary manslaughter, could be, but it's also, like,
negligence.
Negligence or malfeasance. Malfeasance is the boy poops. It's my time. Thank you. Good night, guys.
You guys can only see my face.
Yep. They can.
I'm telepathing it, broadcast it. You know how I'm gonna
stop? Fuck you! Shut up. So they end up like they're doing all the he's doing all these chores. He has to freaking scrub down the outside of the lighthouse. To which I was like,
scrub.
Exactly. To which I was like, you know what? No, I would not have that. Like it's not necessary, like at all.
Yeah, keep in mind, I'm sure we've all had that one boss who's just a condescending dick to be a condescending dick, and that's...
He is. That's Willem Dafoe's character, 1,000%. And he's got to empty out frickin' their pee and poop bowls. And there's a funny scene near the end where he throws it into the wind, and I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, how do you not know that that's what wind does at this point? Like, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was...
You agree with me on that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
But it's like... Yeah. So, he's doing all these chores, and I think he kills a seagull very brutally. Like, he grabs it by the frickin' neck and just starts swinging it. And that's really when all the craziness starts.
Yeah.
I feel like. Because it's bad luck, because they're the souls of the sailors. That's what they... That's what they say, anyways.
Yeah, that's what Thomas's explanation is for it.
Yeah, Thomas's explanation to Thomas. And then, like, they're supposed to go home, but they get surrounded by a storm, so they're going to be trapped there probably for months. And it's a weird thing, because a lot of the time we don't get any, like, real confirmation of how long they've been there for all this time, because, like, Thomas has said many a time, like, oh, we've been here for months. Meanwhile, Willem Dafoe's character Thomas has told him a few times they've only been there 2 days. Or, like, there's a part where Willem Dafoe's Thomas, he wants to leave, but... I'm sorry. Robert Pattinson's Thomas, he wants to leave, but Willem Dafoe's takes an axe and destroys their only boat off. And then when he chases him back in with the axe, he's like, "You're going crazy, man! You just destroyed that boat with an axe." And I was like, it was a moment while watching this movie where I did question, like, is it Willem Dafoe who's crazy, or is Edward Norton actually crazy? You know what I mean?
You mean Robert Pattinson?
That's what I meant. Did I say Edward Norton?
Yeah.
I did. I'm sorry. Edward Norton's not in here, but he is a great actor. Is it Robert Pattinson who's
really,
crazy?
You know, now that you said that, it does make me wonder what that would have been like.
What?
See Edward Norton in this movie, in a movie like this.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. But anyway. Yeah, Robert Pattinson's.
His performance is just fucking stellar in this movie.
Oh, yeah. I actually believe both of these people are actually insane. And just going crazy from, like, the sheer being there, you know?
Yeah.
But you would. In the time period, for sure.
But the thing that I think really makes it, like, really embeds it, is the fact that it feels like they're actual sailors.
Yeah.
They play the dynamic so well that it really feels like you are watching two men. It doesn't feel like you're watching Robert Pattinson. It doesn't feel like you're watching Willem Dafoe. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's kind of the big thing, too, that gets scary about watching something like Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie, because you have that fear that you're going to see that actor play another crazy role. Because, you know, I hadn't really seen a whole lot of Willem Dafoe movies up to this point, so it's kind of that worrisome of, like, for some people that are going into it, like, are they going to seem the same to me?
Right.
You know, for a certain role. Like, another movie that Willem Dafoe starred in, that was another independent film that was really good, was called Dog Eat Dog with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, yeah.
Underrated movie, I think. I loved it. I thought it was... It's really one of those movies you have to watch 2 or 3 times. So, again, that can imply that it's not for everyone. Mm-hmm. But it's just such a great movie. And Willem's acting in there is also great. But he plays, like, kind of an insane...
Yeah, someone who's out of his mind.
Like, not a war veteran, but veteran and, like, a mental veteran who's seen it all. Because they're kind of ex-cons, but still current cons.
All right.
So seeing him in that, and also seeing him in the Lighthouse, was like...
Wow.
Yeah, because, I mean, I believe that didn't come out too long after, or the Lighthouse didn't come out too long after Dog Eat Dog either, if I remember. Because I believe that came out. So it's kind of interesting to see how many roles he's taken and how they're all different.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And then, like, same with Robert Pattinson. I mean, they really leaned into these roles. They got drunk. I think Robert Pattinson said in an interview that he doesn't remember
Filming
half of shooting, like a quarter of shooting, because he was so drunk.
Really? They were actually drunk. That's crazy.
Yeah. There's a scene
where
about halfway, where they're doing sea shanties and dancing with each other after they're drunk.
And then toxic masculinity takes over because they almost drunkenly kiss, but then they immediately like light switch to boxing.
Yeah, which the funniest thing before that is you see Willem Dafoe, you see Thomas do this little jig. He's like, yep. Like, I don't know if Willem Dafoe is drunk, but he kept yelling, "Dance, Winslow, dance!"
Well, and then,
So, Winslow's response to that is to spit out whatever liquor he has, slam the bottle down as hard as he can, and start singing the lumberjack shanties.
Yeah.
Which he sang so drunkenly fluent.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he had to be sober. And Robert Eggers like, no, he was drunk. And I was like, what?
Well, and then, like,
memorized it?
And then, like, they run out of booze at a point, because they had, like, enough for the month-long period, but then when they got stuck in the storm, he had them dig up another supply of more, but then they ran out of that, so they made their own, and I was like, when they made their own and I saw them drink that, I was like, you are definitely doing brain damage to yourself, you know?
Right. And... you know, I think that's why, though, they never want anybody to really make their own liquor because of that reason.
Yeah.
It can be a very dangerous thing if you put the wrong shit in it.
It is. Another thing to prepare you for this movie, besides of actors being drunk and mermaid vagina, a lot of jerking off.
Yeah, I was about to say, the sexual element on here is overdone, but very necessary, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I know that's kind of an odd thing to say.
It's a factual thing.
Which you guys will know when our High Life review comes out. There's a lot of... besides a lot of unconsensual scenes, there's a lot of not sex positive, just a lot of needless sex. Mm-hmm. That didn't need to happen. Here, the sexual frustration, I think, is important because you're also talking about males. And, I mean... we're not going to speak for women because that's a whole nother topic. Right. I mean, but as a human, unless you are asexual, you really are just, you know, that's the thing about sexuality is that, you know,
kind of a slave.
Relieving,
your hormones.
You're relieving yourself isn't always about the sexual tension. It's about having clarity.
It's a release.
Because it's you know, flooding your brain with dopamine.
You need help to focus.
Yeah. So with this, I felt like it was a bit of both. It's kind of like a escape because, you know, while you may be on an island, I think the real idea of escaping the situation that they're both in. You have one other dude that you're stuck with for a month, no other people, and both men have had a past, so they're obviously kind of like, ugh, I've kind of seen enough of a sausage party at this point.
Sure.
You know... sausage fest. And I feel like that really played a part into why, because the person that we see that has the most sexuality, and there's a reason behind that, is I would say Winslow.
Because he's younger.
Because he's younger. He also has said that he's not really around many women. He hasn't been for a while. Mm-hmm. So a lot of his is... he's kind of like a chronic masturbator to bring him some sort of relief, into which he has a little mermaid
he finds it
trinket.
In the pillow.
Yeah, and it's a topless mermaid, into which we get the mermaid vagina scene where doesn't she like wash up on shore and he's questioning what to do because then he realizes, oh, it's like a human, but if I do this, I'd be crossing a very big no-no line.
Well, he
even if it's a
touches her.
mermaid.
No, he's fine with the forbid. He touches her boob, and then he sees her vagina, and then she screeches at him, and he runs away.
Which is like...
Sure.
the most prepubescent weird boy thing I think I've
Yeah.
ever seen. It was a very odd scene, but it was one of those that was necessary. They didn't... And that's the thing I kind of like about Robert Eggers. He takes these extreme scenes, because he had another uncomfortable scene, too. Like we talked about in The Witch, with the sister and the brother, and kind of that, you know...
And the brother and the witch.
Yeah, which he didn't take too far.
No.
And I'm glad he didn't. He knows where the limit
He knows where to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he knows where it needs to draw out. So that's what made this movie tolerable and why it wasn't so vulgar. I mean, I should have warned you because I know you weren't expecting it. It's very offsetting to people who don't know. Mm-hmm. But it was something necessary in there. The reason that, you know, Thomas, on the other hand, because, I mean, the whole thing is that, you know, and we should have said it earlier, not like 40 minutes in, but...
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
We kind of haven't gone beat for a reason. It's kind of another one of those movies that we want to, but it's kind of like there's so much that happens. We're
sorry about that, but yes, it's kind of a lot, like...
Yeah.
It's things happening.
There's
no
so many
clear
things happening.
Order of operations.
It's like trying to explain Joker. You can explain Joker, but at the end of the day, you're also with all those twists, you're not going to be able to be like, did it really happen? And that's the beauty of that movie. But, no, the thing with the Lighthouse is that Winslow, or Thomas, is specifically keeping Winslow away from the Lighthouse.
From the light.
Or the light, yeah. He doesn't say why, except that he just can't be there. And
the light's mine. Yeah.
Yeah, and he says it like that. Like it's some dirty little secret or something, like, you know, somebody has like a pot of gold, like a treasure that they know as soon as you have it. It's kind of like a drug addict or like an addiction. An alcoholic. Like as soon as you know that they have it, you're going to be hooked to it. So they want to keep you away from it as much as they can.
Exactly.
And that, I don't know, that really got to me in a sense.
Sure.
Because I'm trying to figure out the reason why. It really got to me because it was like, it's the curiosity of it all. It's the what's up there. And that was kind of like a different set tone than, you know, The Witch. That's something that you kind of really ask yourself a lot. But weren't too concerned about it bits. Like, you forgot about it, but it was like an undertone that pays off, which I really liked, which was really nice because it was like, when you're first introduced to it and you're curious because it is the Lighthouse and you already have the unsettling vibes and you want to know what's up there, all the other current events, you keep forgetting that they're all linked to the Lighthouse.
Exactly.
So you kind of realize, and that's what makes it so good, because it is confirmed that it is supernatural.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're not only dealing with your mind and the supernaturalness of your mind, you're also indulging in the supernatural of a lighthouse on an island that's playing tricks on you.
Right.
So it really becomes hard, like, doing a beat by beat of, like, what is truly real.
Yeah, and we do apologize for that, but it's just, yeah.
Yeah, but Thomas hogs the light to himself, keeps referring to it as his. And we get one scene where he's, like, basically naked, and he's got this face of, like, he's got this O face going on. And then we see, what is it, like an octopus tentacle?
Yeah.
And it's never explicitly stated, because we get to go up to the main tower at the end, because towards when the conflict kind of comes to a head between Thomas and Winslow finally for
the light.
For the light, yeah. When Winslow really gets fed up with Thomas's BS and his condescendingness, there's basically, to sum it up, he has him dig his own. They end up getting into a fight, which results in him basically, like, literally making Thomas his bitch and forcing him to walk on all fours like a dog. And to which he's dug a hole for him, tells him to lay in there, and starts burying him alive.
Yeah, it's kind of haunting.
It is.
Really well.
Because I think they had Willem do all of his lines while Robert Pattinson or whoever off screen literally threw dirt on him.
Mouth.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there like...
Gross.
Gross.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if you could pay me enough, like, unless I was really committed, but, like...
I agree with you. Yeah.
That would really haunt me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It would haunt anyone, hopefully. If it didn't haunt you, I'd be concerned.
Yeah, that was like, oh, shit. That's one of the things that, you know, I really didn't like kind of going off stage. I've never really liked that kind of stuff. For me, that's the kind of real stuff that really does get to me. That's why I did not like the scene in the Family Guy Return of the Jedi parody where Han forces these two Imperials to dig their own graves at gunpoint. And while it may have been funny because it's like traditionally
it's
Peter,
dark, hilarious.
For me, it was just traumatizing because I was like, too far.
That's the point of it.
I know, but for me, it just was like, you know, for some people found the dark comedy in it. For me, it just was too over the top because it was too real for me.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm just like, okay, this is too much, and I can't deal with that type of stuff. It's like, because I've seen the Saw movies, so I'm no stranger to like the torture elements, and I know people are gonna be like, well, how does that not bother you? And it's like, because in a sense, you see the behind the scenes, and you know it's fake.
Yeah, but from this, we see the behind the scenes. We know the fact that Willem Dafoe got dirt thrown in his face is real.
Yeah. And it's like, when you hear the Family Guy, you hear people literally begging for their lives. It's like, okay, that's horrible. It's horrible.
Exactly.
So that scene is definitely a trigger for any of you who, you know, have that kind of squirmishness of, wow, that's just morbid. So I'd definitely be very weary of that scene. It's a very powerful scene, after kind of seeing all the psychoness, so you kind of are set up for it. But it's still one of those shock values that's like, oh, okay. So then afterwards, Thomas basically, what we think is he's going to maybe pull him out and regret his decision. It turns out, that Winslow basically just was like, oh man, I forgot to grab the keys off his belt. Mm-hmm. Unburies him a little bit, because he never fully submerged him. Takes his keys and then runs back into the lighthouse, into which he's kind of fumbling around, kind of trying to gain his composure of what the hell just happened, into which Thomas runs back in. Mm-hmm. And that results in, what is it, a pickaxe? No.
Yeah.
Is it a pickaxe or is it an actual axe?
No, it's an axe. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Getting impaled into his back.
Well, yeah, Winslow does that, and then he takes the axe out and then chops his face in half. Mm-hmm. And then Winslow also then proceeds to go up to the lighthouse, and then we finally are, like, so anxious because we're like, horrifying, but please tell me the payoff of whatever just happened here is at least worth seeing.
Well, it's a bright light that we don't even see as the audience or understand. It just overwhelms him, and he falls down the lighthouse steps and gets eaten by birds.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, that makes it so, like, he's so nonchalant, and he goes out to touch it, and then you just get, like, him screaming.
Yeah.
And it's, like, not like, it's like a horrified, satisfied, pleasured realization and fear scream all at once.
Well, there's a lot of horrifying, like, the fact that you find out he killed someone while on the logging trip by just pushing them in the river and not saving them. And the fact that the whole time Willem Dafoe's character has been keeping notes saying all the things that he's done that's bad and recommending that he not even get paid and all that stuff, and then he just cracks, and it's like...
Which is like, in all fairness, Thomas really did kind of get what was coming by really over pushing him.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot where I was like, okay, you're really just being a dick and you're really trying to see what would happen.
Exactly.
So it's like, and that's something that, like, there's nothing worse than somebody trying to take notes in front of you because they're trying to specifically be an ass about something.
Right.
Because it's just like, why?
Why? Exactly.
And
that's the question for you guys. Why?
Yeah.
Just why?
But yeah, he basically, I believe the ending when Winslow falls out, because he basically...
He gets eaten by all the other gulls.
Well, not even that. It's just, he gets forced back.
Mm-hmm.
He, like, levitates and gets forced back down
He doesn't. No, he sees it and is overwhelmed by it and trips.
Oh, that's right. Because I don't know. I thought Robert Eggers said something about him getting forced back by the light.
Not that I saw, but maybe he did say that. I don't know.
But it does make you kind of suspicious, too, because Thomas, through the film when he was up there, would always relock that entryway, too, though.
Yeah.
If you notice. And I don't think that was just because of Winslow. I feel like he locked that because he knew something
was going to happen.
If he didn't do it, like, he was going to fall. The other thing, too, that made me kind of suspicious was the fact that, like, opposed from just locking it, it was like he was overly cautious himself about it.
Sure.
Like, every time you go up there, it's almost like... Because you had to know that he had to have come to the lighthouse before.
Right.
To know that it was there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like he almost knew what he was doing was absolutely wrong and there was something wrong, but he couldn't help but have that addiction. So It almost made you wonder, too, if he was trying to protect Winslow from that, too. And it wasn't just about, being a dick. It was kind of like a... Once you go up there, it's like a... Once you know, you know.
Yeah.
And basically, we never do get an explanation. I hate it, but I also love it. Because one of the things that Robert Eggers says during his interview is he basically says, I don't even know what Winslow saw in that light. But what I do know is you'll never know. And if you do, you're going to suffer the same fate as Winslow.
Yeah.
Which is like, is it really worth knowing one thing?
To risk everything.
To risk everything, knowing what the aftermath is. Is it really, is that information worth that much?
To some people it is.
Honestly, this reminded me of that Skyrim Dragonborn DLC when you go to that hellscape in the book with that big black tentacle demon thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. And every time you try to do something in Skyrim and make that really weird noise and the whole earth would shake.
Yes.
If you weren't on that island. And it was like, the first time I saw that, I got goosebumps and my blood ran cold. And I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. I think on a final note, I mean, I'm sorry, again, we're sorry we didn't do a beat for beat, but hopefully that kind of gives you an idea
of this movie.
And just, I know we kind of talked about the behind the scenes and the psychology of it, and I think that's the most core element, is that Robert Eggers really knows how to deliver a psychological thriller. He really does. He knows how to balance it. I'm very excited to see The Northman. I think is his next movie.
Yeah. Which he said is less thriller and more just politics. So
it's supposed to be a drama rather than a thriller or horror. So that's going to be really interesting to see how he's going to take his basically junior year film and junior outing and make it. So,
good for him and good luck.
Yeah, and the other great thing about this movie is if you've ever wanted to see Robert Pattinson say something really weird, there is one dinner scene.
Oh, God.
Where he says, yes, I have to.
All right.
If I had a steak right now,
I'd fuck it.
I'd fuck it. Which is like, man, I love steaks, but I don't think I'd fuck a steak.
You don't mean that, do you? Tell me you love my cooking. Shit. Tell me you love it. I tell Triton to smite thee. Goes into a 10-minute rant.
Yeah, which is great.
Have it your way. I like your cooking.
Which is like, hark. There's some great monologues in there.
So nonchalant response.
Which,
all right, have it your way. I like your cooking.
The dynamic between them being like an old married couple is absolutely great too. So, with that being said, that is why you guys need to watch this movie for yourselves.
It's on Prime. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
It should be on Amazon Prime. I know we've been forgetting to do that.
Yeah, at least today we did, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, folks.
No. So I was going to say, you guys can't use my Vudu, unfortunately. Yeah, the Lighthouse 2019 is currently on Prime for free right now. Otherwise, you guys can rent it on Vudu for $2.99. It's still worth the rent, or YouTube and Google Play for $3.99.
Mm-hmm.
So, but without further ado, that was our review of the Lighthouse.
Thank you all for listening.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys still enjoyed it.
And I hope you guys have a really good rest of your day or night. And, without further ado,
he has been Nathaniel Shoemaker.
he's been now, sweetheart.
And this has been Film Noir. So
Bye.
long, everyone.